26, and it is the beautiful emerald green heart chakra. The 7 sacred suns. The main solar body, our visible sun, is undergoing an evolution, and that its magnetic pull is reversing, which is further altering its solar ray emissions to Earth and to other planets. This change also alters the function of the constellation Ursa Major, in which its 7 main stars are sequentially merging forces with their counterpart, the 7 sister stars in the Pleiades, suns. These 7 stars are that which act as electromagnetic ray spectrum lenses, which transmit the various streams of the ray structure through the 3 main gateways which lead to the sun. 7 sister stars in the Pleiades, creating a cosmic blueprint of the Aeonic pair. Together they represent the active principle of the heavenly masculine and the receptive principle of the heavenly feminine, uniting their shared constellation and factions within their culture. These factions went to war and destroyed much of their society. Many of these beings from Lyra left in the starships to colonize the Pleiades. Ascending vehicle consciously participates with spiritual ascension to cosmic Christ consciousness. The now self is initiated to heal the entire bloodlines of past and future timelines. Says Cherokee legends teach that Native Americans originated long ago in the Pleiades, and assert that indigenous people are on Earth as starseeds with a mission of bringing light and knowledge. The Navajo call the Pleiadian star cluster sparkling suns, and the Iroquois petition the constellation for happiness.
And some of the rogue Pleiadians ended up joining forces with Orion. That's a whole other story. So there was this split, and then they had to find their way back towards integration, which is kind of what we're seeing here on Earth right now.
Living in big cities on Earth, where there is pollution, noise, stress, traffic jams, and all kinds of bad energies, is difficult to compare to being among these crystal cities that shine like tiny quartz crystals among the greenery of nature. Apart from Pleiadians, there are also many other star races living in these cities who are there for trade or to work together with the Pleiadians.
Most of us were taught there are 8 planets in our solar system. Some still remember when Pluto was considered the 9th. But would you believe there's another? A hidden alien planet that's been talked about for thousands of years. Modern scientists and NASA call it Planet X. The ancient Sumerians called it Nibiru. And according to historian Zechariah Sitchin and ancient texts carved in stone, it's very real. This mysterious planet is said to be 3 times the size of Earth and follows a long stretched out orbit that takes 3,600 years to swing close to Earth. While modern scientists are only beginning to suspect something might be lurking in the dark reaches of space, ancient civilizations already knew. They spoke of it in myths, mapped it in the stars, and warned of its return. The Sumerians, one of the oldest known civilizations, described Nibiru in incredible detail. They even wrote about the extraterrestrial alien people who lived there. The Anunnaki, towering advanced various race aliens who came to Earth long ago and even still till today, bringing advanced knowledge, powerful technology, and genetically modifying humanity itself through genetic engineering in the ancient past. On their planet, life develops under intense gravity and pressure, which is why when they come to Earth, it took much adjusting. Their space-age technology is and was far beyond anything mankind knows today. They can travel between planets, manipulate DNA, and even control energy fields. But the real question remains, why is the planet hidden at this current time, and when exactly will it return close to Earth's orbit? So what did these ancient people know that we've forgotten? And if Nibiru is real, what happens when it comes back?
Hello, hello. Grand rising, grand day to all of you, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Grand Rising with ChristoLight. How's everybody today? Thank you all for joining me for this live episode as we continue in this Grand Rising with ChristoLight series. And we are going to be continuing onwards in this galactic history as we continue to explore our galactic history in this universe, as well as the different starseed lineages, or you can say star nations, or galactic races. And we have been diving in for over 2 weeks now into these lineages. We've gone over the Lyrans, we've gone over the Octarians, we've gone over the Syrians, we have gone over the Orion beings, and we have also gone over the Pleiadians. So in this episode, as you guys saw, we're going to be exploring the pretty commonly known and sort of infamous Anunnaki and the home planet Nibiru. And we'll be studying about Nibiru as a whole and what it means and what it represents and relates to for us in this universe, as well as the Anunnaki's positions and how they have had their effect within history of humanity as well. Divine Rising Queen, good to see you. So with that being said, let's go ahead and do our Oracle card reading for today. We're going to break open with the Oracle. We have the Light Language Oracle again today. All right, it's from the Light Language Oracle. Welcome in, welcome in. Enjoy this beautiful rising today on this fine Wednesday. Whoa, okay. Got some big flying coming from these cards. Golly. Let's see what we got here. So we have 2 cards today. First card is going to be Triple Goddess. So like the triple moon goddess. And for some of us, we're familiar with this. This is the Mother, Maiden, and the Crone. But we'll see what this means in the Light Language Oracle for us. It's number 47. All right, so it is the power of 3 and about all facets of life. Before you keep reading, take note of which of these 3 faces call to you the most today. Does this image of the cheeky maiden call to you? then this is a time of new beginnings and to frolic. I love that. And to frolic. Take time to really be joyful. New ideas will begin to flow to you. Go now and play and see the wonder in the dawn of a fresh new day. Does the mother welcome you? Her message is about nurturing, taking time to care for yourself and others. This is a time of birthing, an idea. The maiden has brought you, or incubating things that need more development. You are protected in this time of deep development. And then third, are you resonating with the crone? Her peace flows out in waves of ancient wisdom. She is the ending of the cycle, completion. And with that, she holds all the wisdom of her lifetime. She knows the outcomes and watches each of them, as they are now the words of her life story. With every passing, there is a rebirth of the soul. Beautiful. So that's our first card for today in the collective reading. It is Triple Goddess, Mother, Maiden, and Crone. And which one of the triple goddesses is calling out to you the most today? Is it the mother? Do you feel like you need more self-love, self-care, nurturing, pampering of the self, and getting yourself back up on your feet, getting yourself feeling confident, getting yourself feeling like you have the energy to co-create? And then there's also the maiden. Is the maiden calling to you? The maiden is where you are stepping into a new beginning, a new chapter. You feel like there's a new horizon. You're letting go, and you've let go of a lot of things. Now you're ready to continue forward and embark upon new journeys, new manifestations, and creating. Or lastly, is it the crone? Do you feel like you are in that ancient mother space where you're to be a space holder for others, help lead way and give the guiding light, share your wisdom, hold spaces, and be there to help others be able to develop and grow into their greatest version? So that's our first card, the Triple Goddess, examining which one of the goddesses feels most present for you currently. And then our second card is going to be Archangel Raphaela. I'm sure many of us have heard of Archangel Raphael. Well, this is Archangel Raphaela. Number 19 from this oracle. Wow, look at that. Sounds like someone in this reading is definitely clicking with new beginnings, which would be tied to the maiden. So something about maiden energy today. So Raphaela represents new beginnings, new life, fresh start. Raphaela brings good news of a fresh start. She has the energy of springtime and reminds me of a cherry blossom tree, sweet and tender. These new beginnings may not look the way we expect. There is often a lot of cleanup after a storm, and so it may just be the smallest thing, but a little kindness goes a long way. Alternatively, Raphaela may be reminding you that doing something kind for someone else will be a fresh start for them and help them go on to better things. Sometimes we must embody the energy of the guardian angel and be the vessel for spirit to make changes in this world. New beginnings often come as sudden endings. Don't fear these. See these new starts and positives as this shift in perspective will help you transition to better life opportunities. Anything lost to you recently will be returned. New projects will have a powerful surge of creative energy, and babies will be conceived or born. Archangel Raphaela loves new love and is always a witness to an engagement, wedding, or a first date. So whenever she shows up, be sure to know that a celebration is due. I love that. Great energy for today. Give us reminders of celebrating life, celebrating the good, putting more energy and focus into the positives, into the great progress that we're making, the goals that we create, the changes that we overcome, the things that, typically are hard, the things that were difficult to do. Once we get those done and once we do those tasks that were very difficult, very testing on ourselves, it's good to celebrate afterwards. And of course, if you can celebrate during, just being alive and having gratitude and feeling the beauty of existence. But afterwards, through that hard trial and tribulation, it is great to celebrate. Celebrate what you've overcome. Celebrate your progress, as it is not easy in this third dimension. It takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of energy, takes a lot of responsibility to really evolve and grow and continue to want to be enlightened in this world. So I give my thanks to all of you. Thank you to each and every one of you for being on this journey on this planet and assisting in the way that you authentically do. It's really beautiful, whether it's positive or negative contrast. Thank you for being here and being a part of this beautiful, beautiful existence. So that's our second card, Archangel Raphaela. New beginnings, celebration, and upliftment. Our two cards for today, the Triple Goddess, Mother, Maiden, and Crone, Raphaela. Check out the replay if you would like to watch that reading in full again. All right, we'll now close out our reading space for today. Do a little selenite swipe as well. Take a couple deep breaths real quick. All right, hydration check for everybody. Make sure you're hydrating.
Imagine discovering the missing chapter of human history. The clues are scattered across ancient texts. The clues are scattered across star maps. The clues are scattered across myths. This is what they don't teach you in school. Picture this, a hidden planet, Nibiru, lurking at the edge of our solar system. Some say it's the home of the Anunnaki, a race of ancient beings who visited Earth thousands of years ago. According to legend, they shaped civilizations. They shared forbidden knowledge. And maybe they tinkered with our DNA. But is Nibiru real, or just an ancient warning lost in translation? Who were the Anunnaki? Gods? Visitors? Or something else entirely? Archaeologists chase the same question. Astronomers chase the same question. Conspiracy theorists chase the same question. What if the Anunnaki's secrets are hidden in plain sight? In this series, we'll dig into the origins, the theories, the wildest mysteries surrounding Nibiru and the Anunnaki. So, are you ready to question everything you know about where we came from? Hit subscribe, and let's unravel the mystery together.
All right. Thank you, AI. So let's go ahead and unravel the mystery together. Let's talk about Nibiru, the Anunnaki, and this mysterious knowledge of history in our human lifetime. It's going to be very interesting. Get ready, though, because we're going to be uncovering the negative agendas, the mind control, and much more that's taking place through Nibiru. Phew. Bless me. Ooh. All right. Nibiru. Nibiru is the Sumerian version of the same planetary body, also called Marduk. Marduk by the ancient Babylonians. Nibiru was forced into an extreme elliptical orbit of approximately 3,600 years and is known today as the 12th planet of our third dimensional solar system. Nibiru has not been discovered by Earth mainstream science. It is under the control of the negative agenda, and it functions on reverse orbit and reverse Merkaba alignment. Ancient invaded planet of the Anunnaki, outfitted to be a battle star. The Nibirian battle star. Wormwood refers to the Nibirian Anunnaki's artificially created battle star that exists on the counter orbit to the Nibiru planet on our solar system. The alien architecture leaches onto the formal body or the former body parts of exploded Tiamat, which exists as phantom body and is the phantom matrix wormhole of Tiamat. The Nibiru battle star was formed from the exploded parts of Maldek. So we're going to take a look at Wormwood real quick. Wormwood, Stonehenge. So Stonehenge was built in a special geometry atop the Nibiru Diotic Crystal, or NDC, to counteract the NDC's ability to mutate DNA by reversing the planetary Merkaba, altering the spin rates and reversing the DNA codes in Earth's grid system. This generates the checkboard mutation, which reverses the fire letter sequence and creates junk DNA. There is a programmed crystal that is many stories tall and has been inserted deep into the Earth's crust in this location. The NDC is primarily controlled by the Thoth, Enki, and Leo collectives from Nibiru, which acts as a relay station for scalar sonic beams that are sourcing from Nibiru and directed into the planetary grid. Checkerboard mutation. The checkerboard mutation is generated from multiple alien machinery systems that reverse the energy current throughout the planetary grid networks to split them into bi-wave frequencies. The bi-wave consciousness allows for extreme polarity, amplification in the collective consciousness energies, and the splitting between the polarities to generate extreme densification. This is also what produces gender reversals in the human light body and gender splitting. These reversals are intended to maintain the reversal networks of the Earth plane to keep human DNA unplugged and the negative agenda in control of the timelines on the Earth grid. The Nibirian battle star. Okay, we actually talked about that already. The NRG. The NRG is the Nephilim reversal grids. The headquarter hub in Stonehenge area acts as a final collection point by directing huge amounts of power through massive amounts of collected, stolen, quote-unquote, life force from multiple subsidians all over the planetary globe and the planetary grid lines. Known subsidiary networks exist at every planetary gate or stargate. Michael and Mary Turn 6 Matrix in Calgary, Canada, the Cathor grid lines in South France, the False Dragon Line and Serpent grid, snake networks in Asia, all are collected in return to UK for distribution off-planet to the Orion Group and Anunnaki contingents. That's pretty deep right there, what we just uncovered. It's talking about the Stonehenge areas and the ley lines underneath the Stonehenge being connected to these Nephilim Anunnaki reversal grids. And it's talking about how it's siphoning energy off the planet and through humanity through these grid lines. And it's telling us some locations. Some of the stargates are in Calgary, Canada, South France, as well as in Asia. And they all connect back to the UK, the United Kingdom, where then the energies distribute off planet to the Orion Draconians and the Anunnaki factions. So, 11th dimensional Stargate in Worcestershire, UK at the Stonehenge. There's an 11th dimensional Stargate in Ireland's Eye of the Irish Sea, as well as St. Ives Bay in Cornwall, UK. So we're going to go ahead and go to dismantling artificial Camelohatia in Stonehenge. During the harmonic concordance 20th anniversary week leading up to the 11/11, Guardians dismantled the mass amounts of the AI red wave architecture, forming into red shield Camelohatia artificial grids and machined gel rings running inverted violet, magenta, and pink frequency sets into the catharic mind monadic matrix that have been implanted into Avebury Henge and Stonehenge gateways in the United Kingdom. Emerald Dragon Timekeeper genetic equals and hierogamic quadrata template formation were stationed inside the Rushi pillar system, where false dragon plasma domes with lunar matrix zodiac and mismatched star pattern hookups were utterly demolished and disintegrated, installing the correct sun star patterns with the altered solar zodiac imprints that are plugged into the dragon plasma domes connected to Guardian Host. This action turned into the ChristoLight canopy in the dark closet and revealed a slew of cloaked shits from the Zeta reptile insectoid collectives, where they were in formation anchoring assorted mechanical processes for the Phantom Camelot portals, linking into Red Dragon Cathedral networks and assorted Red Shield networks connecting into Red Shield Camelohatia that were used to support world domination for the Luciferian bloodline with the same sermon. Given these particular areas can draw large spiritual gatherings on solstice or equinox, these areas have evidence for us as the Red Shield Alien Abduction Center for louche harvesting. At the time, large crowds are gathered at Avebury Henge or Stonehenge. More specifically, the use of electronic harassment filled with metallic implants or astral bliss on top with a side of brain fog distraction and assorted victim-victimizer tagging or ongoing Zeta-related harassment to derail the spiritual-minded into spiritual blindedness with clone information warfare. That's a little side quest. Wormwood Stonehenge. Now we're going to continue into the Nibirian agenda. So since the Luciferian rebellion, the fallen angelic Anunnaki factions that are sympathetic to the Nibirian agendas implanted alien machinery in the Earth to set up reversal current networks that artificially force the lowest density on the third dimensional plane into misalignment with Nibiru. The alien machinery is used to force the planet Earth to run reversal currents into the planetary grid networks, which forced an unnatural reversal Merkaba spin that greatly increased matter densification. The artificial reversals running in the planetary Merkaba field forced the individual inner Merkaba spin to run reversals, which resulted in gender reversals and extensive DNA mutations in the original human body blueprint. This effectively damaged the process of spiritual ascension, gender unification, and the potential for 12-strand DNA activation, which was required to full ascension and passage through the Stargate system. Wow. So it's talking about how it was intentionally made for us to become confused about our gender and to potentially reverse our organic DNA blueprint. So the NET, this is the Nibiru electrostatic transduction field. This was anchored into Earth using the NDC and Nibiru Crystal Temple Network during the Luciferian Rebellion, 25,500 BC. By impinging scalar sonic pulses at the Earth's inner grid system, an interference pattern or electrostatic force field was created, enshrouding the Earth. This NET has the effect of buffering incoming and outgoing signals, in particular to the higher dimensions, creating a kind of quarantine. Wow. So it's like a net grid system that basically will veil the connection with our higher versions, or our guides, so to say. So the serpent grid. The serpent APIN was also created during this period by the Pleiadian Nibirian Anunnaki. This APIN runs on D4511 reverse current and connects to Phantom Nibiru and other planets via the Phantom Wormhole or the Phoenix Wormhole in the Bermuda Triangle. It uses spike site implant technology and links with the NDC and Giza. Recent activation began around the 1700s. So there's a Phantom Nibiru. Let's see what this is all about. Nibiru and Tiamat, Fallen Matrix. As several long-term Emerald Guardian universal grid projects finally come into completion in 2022, many of these rehabilitation missions were actually designed to rescue the Melchizedek Logos from his imprisonment in the wall in time splits, which have been formed into the extensive NETs running the Phantom Nibiru Tiamat Fallen Matrices. As the checkerboard matrix Phantom Nets of Nibiru Tiamat collapsed in Stonehenge, the opening into the 12D portal of pre-invaded Nibiru was made accessible. And from out of this planetary gateway, a massive blue crystalline liquid plasma oceanic wave formed into a cosmic Christos Azure blue sun. The red trident. The capture and cloning of the Tiamat Logos were utilized to form several phantom wormholes and phantom matrices connecting into the Earth's 2D gateway and sprawling throughout 4D, 7D, and 10D hexagonal and key lines. These phantom matrices were being used as the artificial rod and staff architecture for the Dark Alien Mother and by the invading negative agenda forces primarily controlled by the Tothian, Leviathan groups. All right, so we'll read this one, then we'll go back to our main page. So the Lyran War timeline holds the cellular memory of the collective shadow bodies and all of the fragmentations and disintegration that occurred during the destruction of the 12th Lyran Universal Stargate. As a result of the destruction of the 12D Universal Stargate, the planets Nibiru and Tiamat were partially exploded and then captured and then forced into inorganic orbits around the sun, which removed them from the capstone nodus position in the universal tree of life of Cathara grid. Nibiru and Tiamat's planetary crystal core were connected to the twin suns of the universal Alisa Melchizedek Logos, to the cradle of Lyra, and the triple stars of Aramanta, Avion, and Vega, which were universal stargates that led out of the time matrix. The universal 12th gate of Aramanta was once the 12D capstone for pre-fall Nibiru, which held the nirvanic mind frequency bands of the solar logos. When Aramanta was destroyed, it allowed for easy capture of Nibiru, which became outfitted by the invaders as a battle star. Many of the founders with organic Emerald Sun DNA, body parts that functions as capstones for supporting the lower dimensions, which includes the sapphire architecture of the 12th gate Holy Mother as the Tiamat Logos, were made vulnerable for attack and capture, with the blueprint schematics being uploaded into AI technology and being in enemy hands. So Nibiru kind of sounds like a Death Star from Star Wars, when you really think about that. Alright, so we're going to keep on continuing on. The fallen angelics. Created by the fallen angelics to counteract and destroy Christiatic human guardian race for control and dominion of this time vector in the universal time matrix. Fallen angelic Anunnaki groups, we have the Alpha Omega Order Templar Melchizedeks, the fallen seraphim. So yeah, something you'll notice is that there's positive and negative polarity of seraphim, angels, different guides. Some guides in their original form are positive, but then their offspring or part of their councils turn negative. All sorts of things happen. And a lot of these are councils as well. Like there's a Thoth council of more than one just Thoth, and some of those Thoths did turn negative. There is the Samashe Anunnaki from Pleiades, the Alkyone. There's the Jehovian Anunnaki from Sirius A. They are the designers of the crucifixion implant network on Earth. And I will go ahead and click on that and let you guys become aware of what that is. So crucifixion implants. When our planetary logos was invaded and corrupted by the reptilian controllers, the archons of the negative agenda, the planet and our race was impacted dramatically. This meant humanity was no longer free to create and evolve as per the original blueprint of our intended creation. We had no memory of what happened to us. We were recycled through the continual reincarnation of the astral plane, with no memory of the past lives, who we really are, where we are going, or what our relationship is to God and what humanity's purpose actually is. Over time, most of us lost our feeling connection to our soul. We became numb to the pain in order to survive in anti-human based structures, which has happened to our planet is not human. It is alien to the true nature of humanity. This was a historical result of the negative agenda invasion and their mind control strategies, such as psycho-spiritual warfare, technology to enslave humanity by inserting into the planetary logos many variations of alien implants and holographic inserts. The pain upon the planet was immense, as the deepest trauma of suffering is when a being is fully disconnected from the soul, source of creation, Our planetary logos was invaded with multiple mutations of alien mind control programming, while siphoning our life force to other planets that serve negative agendas. One of the largest lies promoted to divide our race is the war over false gods. The false archetypal story of a crucified Christ figure is a mockery to further enslave humans into believing into a salvation model through a crucified Christ. It represents the tortured human being, as we are all Christ and have been crucified and implanted as our planet was invaded. These structures are called crucifixion implants. These crucifixion implants are tangible control structures placed in the seventh dimensional logos, and therefore it is our individual bodies. In the seventh chakra, it's complex meridians in the entire left side of our bodies. We are not aware of these implants until we open the seventh seal and start connecting this part of our seventh layer light body to our personal consciousness field. Wow, this is really good stuff. So the demon seat, inverted 7D ray. Saturn is also the solar seventh gate. So it's been used to pump out reversal violet ray plasma light, or inverted 7D violet ray. And this is the distortion that generates reversal plasmas and reversal violet light on our planet. These reversal plasmas are designed to ignite and feed the demon seed that exists in the shadow cells, or negative forms of the masses. Additionally, this alien construct was used to impale the crucifixion implants on the vertical axializational lines in the planetary body, which are devastated the vertical channel alignment of the planetary staff. So you can see this stuff. You know, you can see this through Hollywood. You can see this through the music industry. Other areas where you quote unquote hear about Saturn worship, or, you know, the black sun and all that stuff. This is what they dwell in. This is what they do. This is what they embody and what they bring into this world. The Armageddon software, such as war, pestilence, collaticism, and fear, many other fear programs which can be interchanged, as they are similar bio warfare mind control programs used on the earth to suppress human consciousness. This is a psycho-spiritual warfare strategy used against humanity by the negative agenda through their false gods, false father satanic religions, to use SRA to repeatedly kill and torture humans through war. The Armageddon software is the companion mind control system, which is activated through the crucifixion implants as a holographic insert in the planetary body and the human body. So I will go ahead and read holographic insert, and then we'll go back and finish up on the Anunnaki and Nibiru. So holographic inserts. This is an insert of a false or real memory being programmed upon our consciousness for mind control purposes or DNA genetic manipulation from the negative agenda. Holographic inserts are used to bend time and space and therefore manipulate timelines. Inserts are implanted into the consciousness layers through the frequency manipulations of the body's energy fields or light body. Mental holograms. Mental holograms are projected as reality pictures or images that are generated through the creation of a technological holographic insert using artificially encoded symbols of the native language of human beings for the purpose of manipulating the individual or group by controlling their perception of events or energetic conditions. Alien machinery. For those of us in the indigo or crystal star families, it is important to understand that alien implants are artificial machinery, inorganic technology that is being used in the planetary field to manipulate the collective mind for mind control purposes. The vulnerability is that the collective consciousness viral program that promotes the artificial timelines, can influence or interfere with our natural psychology, brain and nervous system processes, therefore controlling our perceptions. Mental and emotional imbalances are energetic disease patterns that create energetic blocks, which lead to physical disease patterns. Alien implants, which include holographic inserts, reinforce the negative ego and the archonic deception behaviors, which contribute to manifesting disease, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Alien machinery and their mind control implants are artificial and can make us sick in a variety of ways if they are not corrected. Wow, deep stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this to you guys, and then we will continue on and actually move into our videos for today. So the Belial Sun Anunnaki Agenda. Some of you guys may have heard of Belial before. Belial is that statue of the horned goat that you've seen in a few places. Part of the Saturn worship. So the fallen Anu Elohim hybrid mixture with Orion race lines. They seek to genetically digress and destroy Diamond Sun DNA on Earth, enslave humanity and Earth for selfish agendas, cultivate genetic hybrids with their preferred race lines, New World Order agenda for total dominion and dictatorship, competes with OWO of Black Sun Draconium. When it says competes, it's saying that there's two different negative agenda factions, or main agenda factions, that are trying to have control over the planet. The first one is the Orion group with the Alpha Draconians. The second one is the Belial Sun Anunnaki, and they're part of the Luciferian Knights. And you definitely see this stuff. If you look at, the Catholic Church, you look at the Roman history, the Knights Templar and all them, you can see that they kind of masquerade themselves as false light. These dogmatic religious figures, these let's masquerade as God type of energy. Compared to the Alpha Draconians, where they don't even try to do that. They don't even try to disguise or act like they're light. They don't even try to act like they are God. They just dominate, destroy, enslave, rape, genocide. So that's the difference between the two factions. So, like it says here, Luciferian Knights Templar and other secret societies. And then it says impersonates Christos, often uses guardian names or contact for infiltration. Pretty much what I was saying there. They impersonate being Christ figures when really they're embodying Antichrist. Successful New Age hijack, astral bliss, spiritual bypassing, and the false Galactic Federation. I love that they said the New Age hijack, astral bliss, and spiritual bypassing, because you can see it. You can see who's under this spell, especially in our spiritual communities. The ones that spiritual bypass, that always have astral bliss, but are never doing things to progress in their physical human life. They're always broke, they're always in lack. They're always needing to freeload off of others. Those are all things that result from spiritually bypassing our life. And then we have, spiritual bypassing is also when you're like, oh, everything is one. So everything will just be good, you know, and also thinking that someone's going to come save us. That's all spiritual bypassing. It is up to us. That is why we are born here. That is why we are the vessel for spirit to be able to be on this earth and to express and have our free will. So we have the Syrian and Anunnaki faction, the Nibirian, the Nephilim, the Orion groups, and the Luciferians. Ooh, some dense energy. Yeah, I'm ready to move on from this energy. All right. So let's go ahead and take a moment and clear up the energy a little bit, uplift the frequency, and I'm gonna grab my singing bowl, play a little bit of a singing bowl for a moment, and then we'll dive into our videos for today. And I just want to remind everybody too that, there's no need for fear. There's no need for feeling like a victim or feeling distressed because of this information, but to allow this information to be empowering and to enlighten us on what it is to be aware of, that we can navigate around it, and that we can uphold our sovereignty and personal power while understanding what is happening in this world so that we can help make a better day. So go ahead and get yourself comfortable. I'm going to grab my singing bowl. We'll be back in 44 seconds, and we're just going to clear the mind-body emotions a little bit from these frequencies. All right. We have the crown chakra. Tap into that 7D violet ray. And let's just take a moment and let's also set the intention of clearing and reversing any 7-dimensional violet reversal systems that may be inside of our being. Any implants, any holographic inserts, any distortions. Let's set the intention to bring them forward and release them and clear them today. And let's go ahead and call in our Arcturian star family as well, as the Arcturians are really well at removing and clearing, doing psychic surgery. So we're setting the intention of calling in our Anunnaki star family to help with clearing, protecting, and reversing any reversals in our energy field. Focusing on our breath, breathing deeply through our body, slowly at our own pace. Breathing in these violet rays of the 7th dimension. I am God, sovereign, free. 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 I am God, sovereign, free on this planet Earth. All right. Go ahead and take any final breaths as you feel. Giving thanks to the violet ray, the violet flame of transmutation. And thank you guys all for exploring and taking on this knowledge today. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move into some of our videos talking about the Anunnaki and Nibiru. You guys enjoy, and let's get to it.
The life of Pleiadians.
Whoops.
The history of the first civilizations is full of great events and mysteries that arouse the curiosity of many. Many wonder how it was possible for human beings to evolve so rapidly compared to other species that had already existed on our planet. Ancient peoples, through their religions, have tried to offer answers about the creation of the world and the odd creative capacity of humanity. Perhaps the answer to this dilemma can be found in the text written by what was the first organized civilization in history, the Sumerians. The Sumerian civilization emerged in Mesopotamia around 4500 BC. Over time, it was responsible for building large cities and creating the first system of writing, known as cuneiform writing, on clay tablets. During archaeological excavations in 1849 in Iraq, 14 clay tablets with Sumerian writings were found. The translation of the text revealed one of the most fantastic stories of all time, the story of the Anunnaki gods. According to the Sumerian manuscripts, there is a planet at the ends of the solar system called Nibiru. Every 3,600 years, it enters an orbit close to the planet Earth. Nibiru was the home planet of the Anunnaki, who were experiencing difficulties because the climate and atmosphere of the planet were changing rapidly, making it difficult to produce food and therefore to survive. It was necessary to use advanced methods of technology, alchemy, and magic to reverse this situation. To do so, a large amount of gold was needed, since this metal has purifying properties capable of resisting even cosmic radiation. However, gold was a rare resource in Nibiru, and without other alternatives, the Anunnaki used their advanced technology and sent ships into space in search of the precious golden metal. After a long and tiring search, they arrived on planet Earth about 445,000 years ago, where they were the first astronauts to cross space and colonize another planet. The planet Earth was inhabited only by wild animals such as mammoths, saber-toothed tigers, and some apes. The Anunnaki settled in Mesopotamia and built a wonderful city called Eridu. In this city, there was a splendorous garden full of fruit trees and animals. The garden created by the Anunnaki was named Eden, and the first favorite place of the astronaut gods. Shortly after, gold extraction began in underground mines. To do the heavy tasks, they brought with them slaves from another alien race, the Igigi. After years of forced labor and humiliation, the Igigi rebelled against the Anunnaki, giving rise to the first war on Earth. The Igigi were defeated and decimated. The Anunnaki needed new workers. The solution was to create a new race of intelligent beings, able to work, but more harmless than the Igigi. The Anunnaki combined their genes with the ancestors of human beings, creating a hybrid and submissive race at their command. This genetic fusion did not go very well at first. Strange beings came to life, like the Nephilim giants, which, although extraordinarily strong, were devoid of intelligence and self-control. The first man to emerge from this successful genetic combination was named Adamu. Compared to human beings, the Anunnaki were incredibly tall and strong, and their weapons would be more than enough to control another possible rebellion. Over time, humans developed the ability to speak and learn from the Anunnaki to take care of plantations and build houses made of clay and stone. The Anunnaki came to like human beings. They even allowed them to live in their city and attend the sacred garden, but gave explicit orders not to reproduce too much. Against the will of the gods, human beings began to procreate quickly, which caused overpopulation in the city. Many people were expelled from Eden and Eridu and condemned to live in exile in wildlands. After a few millennia, the planet Nibiru approached the Earth again. Nibiru's gravitational field was so strong that it adversely affected the Earth's natural conditions. There was an increase in the temperature of the planet, and the glaciers melted, rapidly raising the level of the oceans and causing constant rain. A great flood ravaged the Earth, and the city of Eridu was doomed to submerge. To save their creation, the Anunnaki created large boats that floated for days to normal water level. In this part, it is not clear whether the boats floated on the water or whether the boats were ships hovering in the sky. After their city was destroyed, the Anunnaki decided to return to Nibiru. But before they left, they gave human beings knowledge of architecture, mathematics, music, and writing. They also taught them how to establish a monarchy system, where some leaders kept their bloodline inherited for the Anunnaki pure, with the right to command others. They also ordered the construction of temples known as ziggurats, aligned with the constellations. These would one day guide the Anunnaki back to Earth. The Sumerian texts do not determine how many Anunnaki there are, but they quote some as the main ones. The most powerful deity in Sumerian mythology was An, or Anu, according to Akkadian calligraphy. Anu was the personification of heaven and possessed infinite wisdom. He was the oldest and most venerable of the gods, with sanctuaries in almost all Sumerian cities. The goddess Ki represented the earth and Anu's wife. The union between Anu and Ki gave birth to Anunnaki, a word that can be translated as children of heaven and earth. The first Anunnaki was Enlil, lord of the air, winds, storms, and responsible for keeping heaven and earth at a safe distance. Enki was the mighty god of the oceans and rivers, the patron of the city of Eridu. Later, his cult reached other peoples such as the Canaanites, Hittites, and Horites. The moon also had a ruler, Nana, worshipped as a god of wisdom and curiosity, responsible for teaching scientific and astronomical concepts to human beings. The god Utu was the personification of the sun and defender of justice, truth, and morality. Utu traveled through the heavens in his sacred carriage, emitting a brilliance capable of illuminating the world. The goddess Inanna was Utu's twin sister and goddess of fertility, war, and political power, also called the Heavenly Queen. She was one of the most cultured goddesses of Mesopotamia, adopted by Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians under the name of Ishtar. The cult of the Anunnaki was shared by many Mesopotamian peoples, adding new stories and divinities with the advancement of time, but always maintaining a very detailed essence. The history of the Anunnaki, written by the Sumerians, is full of scientific and astronomical references, very advanced for the time in which they were written. The knowledge is still one of the greatest mysteries of humanity.
Some really good stuff right there. Stay settled and comfortable because we're going to keep it going. There's actually a part 2 from this specific series.
After being driven out of Eridu by the Anunnaki, the humans began to wander aimlessly around the world. But something unexpected happened. Some Anunnaki and Ijiji secretly had love affairs with humans. The children generated between the Anunnaki and humans were capable of amazing things, being considered demigods that would leave their names eternalized in legends of several peoples. Some of the most famous were Gilgamesh, Hercules, Perseus, and Samson. But the children of the Ijiji with humans were bestial and evil giants who became forever known as Nephilim. They usually lived in hill caves, but attacked human dwellings and caused much trouble for the Anunnaki. Even without the Anunnaki's support, the humans flourished and built cities of their own. Without the Anunnaki to dictate rules, the humans went into decadence. Thievery, debauchery, and violence were common in the cities, and it seemed impossible to control human barbarism. But everything was about to change. The orbit of the planet Nibiru was approaching the Earth, an event that only happened every 3,600 years. The Anunnaki knew of the impending disaster, as Nibiru would reverse the Earth's magnetic poles, causing earthquakes, volcano eruptions, and tsunamis. The Anunnaki's final decision was to abandon humans, return to their ships, and flee into space, where they would remain orbiting planet Earth until the natural disasters were over. Against the wishes of his advisors and family members, King Enki decided that the human race deserved a chance to save itself from the cataclysm. He commissioned Utnapishtim, a good-natured man, to create a giant ship called the Preserver of Life, in preparation for a giant flood that would end life on Earth. Even in the face of the mockery of humans, Utnapishtim dutifully carried out Enki's instructions and built the ship. Utnapishtim also sheltered and protected the essence of all the animals on Earth. Enki ordered that the technology of the Anunnaki be used to collect the DNA of one male and one female from each animal specimen found. When the great ship was finally ready, the signs of approaching Nibiru could be felt all over the world. Those who had mocked Utnapishtim now feared the result of their arrogance. As predicted, the Earth was devastated by an unprecedented disaster. Earthquakes ripped the surface of the Earth, setting up new continents. Volcanoes spewed lava and glowing smoke, incinerating everything in their path. Finally, a torrential rain raised the level of the oceans, which even covered the summit of some mountains. The splendorous city of Eridu and the Garden of Eden were destroyed, as were the terrible giant Nephilim. But, despite these horrors, Utnapishtim's ship held out and floated until the water returned to normal levels, unveiling a reborn world. With the help of the Anunnaki's technology, life on Earth was restored. Powerful new cities were gradually built, such as Babylon, Hattusa, and Knossos. Humans revered the Anunnaki again, worshipping them as gods and building temples in their honor. The human race occupied the new territories that arose after the flood, creating distinct civilizations, each representing the Anunnaki as deities according to local beliefs. But peace was again threatened, as Enki's younger brother, named Enlil, wanted to be Earth's chief ruler. The Anunnaki allowed humans to have their own kings in their cities, but Enki was the sovereign of Earth, with the title King of Kings. This position aroused Enlil's envy. The rivalry between Enki and Enlil became greater and greater, mainly because Enlil disliked humans and despised the fact that his brother had helped them survive the flood. Enlil believed that humans were mere laborers with limited intelligence. He never agreed with the accelerated development that the human race achieved with the Anunnaki's help. To placate the situation, Enki suggested a political marriage between his son Dumuzid and Inanna, Enlil's granddaughter. But Enki's eldest son, named Marduk, did not accept this idea, since he intended to unseat his father and uncle and assume the title of King of Kings himself. Marduk devised a plan that caused the accidental death of his brother Dumuzid. With the end of the arranged marriage, the enmity between Enki and Enlil escalated. Marduk was punished for the crime and exiled to a lonely desert. When he was informed of the disputes between the Anunnaki living on Earth, King Anu of Nibiru decided to intervene. Anu pardoned Marduk, who was released from exile and allowed to be among the Anunnaki. Anu also ended the feud between Enki and Enlil. He promised the two brothers and other Anunnaki of royal lineage a territory for each to rule on Earth. Enlil was given the region of Mesopotamia, Enki got Egypt, Inanna got Persia, and Ninmah was given the Sinai region. The pardon given to Marduk did not entitle him to rule a territory. Disgruntled, Marduk demanded Babylon, a city in which he became the main deity. Marduk decided to challenge the other Anunnaki, and, contrary to Anu's orders, taught his human subjects the secret of producing iron weapons and armor, creating the best-equipped army at the time. Thirsty for power, Marduk ordered the construction of hanging gardens in Babylon to replicate the splendor of the ancient Garden of Eden, which had been devastated in the flood. Not only that, Marduk also ordered the construction of a great tower that was to reach the clouds of heaven, defying King Anu. The Tower of Babel quickly reached an impressive height, as the construction was intended to overshadow all the other Anunnaki buildings on Earth. The outrage was not ignored by the remaining Anunnaki, and each leader started preparing human armies to face Marduk. Obeying Marduk's orders, the Babylonian armies marched out to conquer and enslave other nations. This was the beginning of a great wave of wars and conflicts between the strongest peoples of the Bronze Age. The Anunnaki constantly changed sides and formed alliances with each other, leading to chaos and destruction in many major cities. Marduk's armies managed to dominate Egypt and Sinai. To confront the other Anunnaki, Marduk humiliated or annihilated the conquered humans. With no other way out, Enki and his brother Enlil joined forces. With the authorization of King Anu, they used the technology of the Anunnaki's weapons and ships to fight Marduk, an extreme decision with many detrimental consequences to the world. The destruction caused by the Anunnaki's weapons led to multiple natural disasters. Volcanoes, earthquakes, and tsunamis destroyed entire civilizations. Crops disappeared due to air contaminated by volcanic ash, with famine becoming ubiquitous. Desperate humans abandoned cities or formed marauding groups to attack more fertile lands. These grim events were recorded as the Bronze Age collapse. After causing such a catastrophe on the world, the Anunnaki realized that the wars would never end and could destroy the entire planet Earth. To halt the debacle, Anu ordered all the Anunnaki to return to Nibiru and let the Earth be ruled by humans. Some human leaders descended from the Anunnaki were chosen to rule the rest, until the day when the Anunnaki will return to Earth to choose the people worthy of being taken to Nibiru, where they will live forever as immortals.
A lot of good history and knowledge in these videos. Wow. I even have more videos for us as well. So it'll be interesting to see what else there is to learn about these wonderful beings. And if you guys want me to, I'll just keep it rolling. And we'll just close out with these videos. So we'll continue and let things keep flowing.
The Anunnaki live on the planet Nibiru, which orbits our system. They are an ancient race of extremely developed and powerful beings, and can be considered gods in human eyes. But even the great Anunnaki suffered from the terrible environmental conditions on their planet. A large crack had formed in Nibiru's ozone layer. This crack widened every decade, increasing global warming and destroying crops and animal life. The Anunnaki discovered that pouring gold dust particles into the atmosphere slowed down the expansion of the crack, even reversing it slightly. But Nibiru was a mineral-poor planet, and gold was extremely scarce. The lack of food quickly led to revolt among the population. Groups of rebels challenged the central government of Nibiru, and a chaotic wave was about to sweep through every city on the planet. The rebels were led by Alalu, who, despite being part of Nibiru's noble lineage, did not have a good relationship with his parents. Trying to execute a coup d'etat, Alalu attacked and killed the king of Nibiru, demanding the throne for himself. However, there was an heir by right of lineage, Prince Anu. A public duel was organized to decide the new ruler of Nibiru. Anu and Alalu fought unarmed, and after a fierce fight, Anu was chosen as the new king of Nibiru. Alalu was judged for his actions, but before the sentence was handed down, he managed to steal a ship and escape from Nibiru. King Anu decided that exile was punishment enough for Alalu, and decided to commit his efforts to saving his planet. Anu realized that the only viable solution would be to find the precious gold on other celestial bodies. Many space expeditions were made to the planets closest to Nibiru, but the results were dismal, as gold veins were scarce. When hope was almost nil, a massive breakthrough was made. On the third closest planet to the Sun, a true paradise had been found. Most of the planet was covered with water, with large portions of land that harbored a huge diversity of animal and plant life. Even more important to the Anunnaki, there were many ores waiting to be exploited, including precious gold. To the amazement of Nibiru's entire royal court, the person responsible for the discovery was the exiled Alalu. As a result of his vital contribution, he was pardoned for his crimes. The Anunnaki dubbed the planet Kai, but it was later known as Planet Earth. The Anunnaki chose a region, now known as Mesopotamia, to build a wonderful city called Eridu. King Anu's eldest son, named Enki, was in charge of the metropolis, while his father continued as ruler of the planet Nibiru. After 7 days of hard work, the Anunnaki completed the construction of Eridu. They began the processes of extracting gold, which, after being collected in considerable quantities, was sent to Nibiru. Extracting gold was an arduous and painful process. Therefore, the Anunnaki decided to resort to forced labor from an alien race called the Igigi, who had long before been defeated in battle and dominated by the Anunnaki. After hundreds of years, the planet Nibiru was practically re-established on account of the massive amounts of gold mined from Earth. But the Igigi could no longer stand suffering in the gold mines and organized a full-scale rebellion. A great war inevitably occurred between the Anunnaki and the Igigi. The city of Eridu was badly damaged, and many gold mines collapsed. Despite their courage and determination, the Igigi were no match for the Anunnaki in strength and technology. They were quickly subdued. But the Anunnaki realized that the Igigi had already done much to restore Nibiru, and forcing them to work would only result in new rebellions. A new solution had to be created. The Anunnaki decided to create a new race of living beings, capable of working and learning, but inferior to the Igigi in strength and size. To do this, the Anunnaki used the womb of a female primate that inhabited the forests, and using advanced technology, inseminated her with the Anunnaki's essence. But the results were grotesque, giving rise to terrifying monsters, such as Cyclops, Gorgons, and two-headed giants. The method of conception had failed. The other alternative was to use the essence of a male primate, and after modifying its DNA, to inseminate it into the womb of an Anunnaki woman. After a few months of waiting, the first baby was born, who was given the name Adamu. His skin was tanned with a reddish tint. Although he was much smaller than the Anunnaki babies, Adamu was just like his creators. It was the birth of the first human being. The Anunnaki also conceived a woman named Hiva to fulfill the requirements necessary for human procreation. Centuries after the birth of Adamu and Hiva, humans represented a sizable population in the city of Eridu. The Anunnaki were pleased with the development of the humans, who soon became able to mine gold, build houses, and even plant and harvest crops. As a reward for their efforts, the humans were allowed to frequent the Eden, a sacred garden created by the Anunnaki. The beauty of human women started to attract some Anunnaki, but the relationship between the two races was strictly forbidden. But Enki himself, king of the city of Eridu, eventually fell in love with a human woman. From this relationship, the boy Adapa was born. He became a very talented and wise man, for he was the direct son of a noble Anunnaki. Adapa also had a longer life than most humans, but he was not immortal. Adapa married a woman named Atiti, and they gave birth to a new line of humans who were more intelligent than the previous generation. But Adapa's children also inherited the Anunnaki's lust for gold and desire for power. This gave rise to violent behavior among the humans. Adapa's two oldest sons, named Cain and Abel, were the closest servants of the Anunnaki, and competed with each other to see who their masters could please the most. Tired of standing behind his brother Abel, Cain waited until they were alone. Using a wooden club, he murdered his brother. Never before had a human killed another, which was a surprise to the Anunnaki. As punishment, Cain had his forehead marked with a symbol pointing to him as a murderer and was exiled from Eridu. He was condemned to live forever in the world without ever finding peace for his soul. There were other similar cases later. Against the Anunnaki's orders, humans began to procreate excessively. Eridu quickly became unable to provide shelter for so many people, and food sources were scarce in Eden's garden. As the planet Nibiru was recovered, mining gold in large quantities was no longer necessary. The Anunnaki decided to expel the humans from their sacred city and garden, condemning them to live in the fields and forests.
Some really good stuff, man. Like, these videos are very detailed, and I'm really grateful that we have them. So that's a little bit about the history of Nibiru in relationship to the Anunnaki, as well as our human history and this planet Earth. So as we finish up this episode, we are going to take a look at one more video. And in this video, we're actually going to be kind of diving into one of the false god archetypes that they utilize to help enslave and mind control humanity. And yes, false god archetypes. That is something that we went over in the knowledge about the Anunnaki and the Nibiru control system, is that they introduced to this planet the false gods for religious and spiritual mind control. So we're going to dive into a video about one of these archetypal figures that the Anunnaki are and utilize for mind control over humanity. Grand Rising Karima, good to see you. We are watching our final video about Nibiru and the Anunnaki, and then we'll be closing out this live. You can catch the replay for a collective card reading, as well as an in-depth discussion and education about Nibiru and the Anunnaki.
Did you know that when we conclude our prayers with Amen, we are in actuality giving worship and praise to an evil Anunnaki alien man named Marduk, who is also known as Amun-Ra in the Egyptian pantheon. Amun-Ra gave a decree thousands of years ago on Earth that humans should honor and thank him by saying his name Amen at the end of their prayers. Amun-Ra, also recognized as Marduk in Sumerian text, was the chief god deity of Babylon and is an immortal Anunnaki alien who has covertly governed and owned planet Earth for millennia and still owns it now. Amun-Ra was responsible for initiating the significant pyramid wars in Africa and the Middle East over 50,000 years ago, leaving the lands in complete desert due to the advanced weaponry that destroyed most plant life. His intention: he yearned to be the singular God revered by human beings who were engineered in the Garden of Eden. Each member of the Anunnaki royals was allocated designated periods in the cosmic constellations to govern and rule Earth. However, a significant great flood incident resulted in the overshadowing of Amun-Ra's designated time to rule. The Anunnaki and Atlanteans from Nibiru represented a diverse civilization. The Anunnaki royal family from Nibiru possessed a lineage that connected to both reptilian draconian and Lyran Syrian ancestries. This lineage, which arose 12 million years in the past, was the result of a peaceful union of marriage agreement between a royal reptilian female from the Orion Empire and a Lyran Syrian male from the Galactic Worlds Federation. This union initiated a brief period of harmony and additionally birthed a novel royal hybrid race. These warrior-like beings, muscular and exhibiting both various dark and light skin tones, the full-blood royals were said to have skin so dark that it would appear Arcturian blue to the human eyes, and with facial attributes reminiscent of African Asiatic people, which is recognized in our ancient records today as the extraterrestrial Anunnaki royalty. They are the paramount monarchical leaders of the diverse civilization of Nibiru and, interestingly, they represent the dark-skinned muscular gods that are depicted in ancient Sumerian civilizations whose heights are up to 8 to 10 feet. Deep within this lineage, Marduk was the son of Enki, Nibiru's eldest and most learned prince. Enki was born to King Anu and a servant woman of Pleiadian heritage. Widely recognized for his wisdom and might, Enki had a son named Marduk, also known as Amun-Ra. After a long myriad of years, when he finally ascended to power on Earth, he decreed that whenever humans communicate with the divine, they should direct their devotion to him and conclude their invocations by uttering his name, Amen. Amun-Ra would use his rule to bring mankind into a state of dehumanization of assault, slavery, genocide, and destruction in his name and the one religion of him. Amun-Ra ordered Joshua and Moses in biblical text to slaughter children, assault and sacrifice innocent women and men in cities who worshipped other Anunnaki aliens other than him. Deuteronomy 22:28-29 reads like this. If a man happens to meet a virgin who is not pledged to be married and assault her and they are discovered, he shall pay her father 50 shekels of silver. He must marry the young woman, for he has violated her. He can never divorce her as long as he lives. This is one of the many clear texts in this gospel that showcases this deity was not the creator God that we believe in, but an alien man giving incentives for genocide and assault of modern human communities for his patriarchal gain and reptilian mindset passed down from his heritage. He was constantly in confrontations with his kin regarding his ambition to be the paramount deity of both humans and the planet in archaic eras. By pressuring the infamous Pharaoh Akhenaten of Egypt to introduce the concept of monotheism, insisting on the renunciation of venerating multiple gods who are really extraterrestrial beings, and urging allegiance solely to himself as the sole and only god, now known as Amun-Ra, the sun disk god, no longer keeping his Sumerian Babylonian name, Marduk. The Canaanized Bible, specifically the books of Exodus, Judges, and Deuteronomy, in truth depicts a conflict between humanoid aliens equipped with sophisticated technology who manipulated humans as instruments, compelling them to battle and eliminate each other in the name of their god, Amun-Ra. Marduk's lineage, including his progenitor Enki and sibling Thoth, were disconcerted by his aggressive tendencies, which echoed the sinister nature of his uncle, Enlil, also identified as Yahweh. Thoth, who governed ancient Egypt for a span of 16,000 years, was instructed by his father Enki to depart from Egypt, abandon the contentious pyramid conflicts with the devoted Olmecs, and establish a fresh civilization in the territories we currently recognize as the Mayan and Aztec regions of the world. Recognized as an exceptionally potent Anunnaki, Marduk, or Amun-Ra, was reputed to embody the capabilities and technologies of all Anunnaki beings of all worlds. His legendary triumph over the formidable Dragon Queen and Sovereign Tiamat, and her legion during an Anunnaki intervention on Earth approximately 350,000 years in the past, earned him immense respect. The Anunnaki, in appreciation, conferred upon him 50 titles and designated him as their leader, with 50 being a number of great import, formerly linked to his uncle Enlil, who Marduk supplanted as commander god of Earth after his reign. Operating from an orbiting saucer-like craft or shining sun disk, Amun-Ra's dominion extended primarily over regions like ancient Babylon, and eventually after contest with his brother Thoth, ancient Egypt. He revealed his genuine form solely during a rendezvous with Moses on Mount Sinai. Furthermore, Marduk is recognized as the father of Nabu, the Babylonian wisdom deity, whose facial depiction is immortalized on the iconic Great Sphinx. Popular belief holds that Amun-Ra's lineage is intertwined with that of the ancient Egyptian monarchs, and remnants of this royal genealogy, including the renowned King Tut lineage, persist in modern-day humans through breeding and genetic markers placed through advanced technology. Yet Amun-Ra's disposition was far from benevolent, with a distinct narcissistic god complex streak. Our souls have already ordained that we hour the light against the dark. As we continue in the age of Pisces, his dominion over our world remains unchallenged. However, once we enter the age of Aquarius, our souls will return to the higher astral dimensions and new Earth. His current whereabouts remain uncertain, but indications suggest his proximity is close, much like the Sith Lord Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars films. Speculations abound regarding secret cabals and the elite who may venerate Amun-Ra and possibly operate under his aegis, striving to perpetuate our intellectual and spiritual subjugation on this planet. In retrospect, we are all like Neo and Trinity in the Matrix, forever battling and conquering the mathematical yin and yang multiverse. We ask that you take these spiritually truthful tenets at your behest and seek out the truth in your own time, and then you will begin to see the connections of these ancient mysteries unveiled. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to Astral Legends for more episodes on ancient mysteries and legends. May the eternal light forever guide your path. See you on the next episode.
All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed those videos and it gave you some really good in-depth knowledge and understanding about the Anunnaki, as well as the relationship to, these false light beings, the false gods, the control systems that we are seeing in this world currently. And if you guys have any questions, you want to dive deeper into these kind of things, or just explore with me, reach out. I'm always an open book. If you guys want to book one-on-one healing sessions, you want to figure out your starseed Akashic lineage, that is a service I do offer as well, online and in person. Then I also have retreats that I'm hosting. October 17 and 19, Peruvian Shaman Retreat in Ohio. 11/11, I'm hosting a retreat out here in Ohio as well. And then around Ohio or Pennsylvania, I'll be having a New Year's retreat. No alcohol, 420 friendly, and holistic healing, live music, and all that good stuff. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and close out. Thank you guys for joining, and I'll see you guys later tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, for the Law of One, Raw Material with Sandy Marshall. We'll be live, and then I'll be live again tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, Grand Rising of ChristoLight, and that will be about the history of Venus in our solar system. Wholeness and balanced love, everybody. Our founder claims, this right here is an embodied form of the violet ray spectrum. Tap in and tune in Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern, live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Grand Rising with ChristoLight, your sacred space for discovering the Ascended Masters in crystal healing. Ashe.